Good day, everyone, and welcome to We for Health. India today bears the unfortunate distinction of being the diabetes capital of the world, with over 100 million people currently living with diabetes and many more undiagnosed or being at risk. Living with diabetes goes beyond just medication. It involves lifestyle adjustments and informed care. Welcome to our series on healthy living with diabetes. To guide us what it means to lead a healthy and balanced life while managing diabetes, today we are joined by Dr. Bhatnagar, who will help us understand how to take control of diabetes one step at a time. To begin with, please briefly explain what diabetes is and why is it a public health concern.
Diabetes is a chronic metabolic disorder where body either doesn't produce insulin or there is deficiency of insulin. This deficiency of insulin leads to higher level of blood sugar. When blood sugar is high, it leads to different type of complications, including impact on vital body parts like heart, kidney, liver, etc. And because of diabetes impact on individual as well as on society, it's a serious public health problem.
Please tell us what are the key tests that are used to detect diabetes, especially in the early stages.
Early stages, blood tests are the most important test for detecting diabetes. Blood test is done mainly after 8 hours of fasting, what we called as fasting blood sugar. Second test is done after 2 hours after taking a principal meal. So this is termed as postprandial meal. Along with that, to assess the diabetic control, we also does a test which is called as glycosylated hemoglobin HbA1c test, which is done every 3 months.
So please tell us who is most at the risk of developing diabetes and should therefore undergo regular screenings.
Yes, in Indian context, people who have sedentary lifestyle, people who are obese, people with more than 40 years of age, then people with a strong family history of diabetes, people suffering from high blood pressure or any other heart ailments, they should undergo regular diabetes screening. Apart from these, women who had high blood sugar during their pregnancy should also undergo blood sugar test for confirmation of diabetes. And in Indian situation, what has been observed that even people with lean and thin body structure, they may have visceral obesity, which is responsible for diabetes as well as insulin resistance, leading to further complications of diabetes.
Since you mentioned insulin resistance, could you please tell us what exactly that is and why is it significant?
Actually, insulin resistance is the key marker for development of diabetes. Abdominal obesity, lack of physical activity, genetic involvement, all these are responsible for subsequent development of diabetes. So if there is early insulin resistance, this may subsequently lead to diabetes.
So please also tell us, some people believe that pre-diabetes or borderline diabetes is harmless. What's your take on this?
No, pre-diabetes or borderline diabetes is not harmless. It is usually precursor of onset of full-blown diabetes. So somewhere it is helpful that if we identify a patient at the pre-diabetic stage and they make required lifestyle changes, follow the physical activity part, that we may prevent them from developing diabetes. Otherwise, untreated or unmanaged, or people who are not paying any attention to their pre-diabetic stage, they usually develop full-blown diabetes within the next 5 to 6 years.
Also, we would want to know a very popular claim that type 2 diabetes is reversible. Is that accurate?
Actually, correct word to use is remission. Basically, it is possible to live healthy life with diabetes. Only thing is, one has to take care of diet, physical activity, and how we are taking care of our body. But if we look at it, once diabetes is established, it is not fully cured. but it can be managed. People live with it, and in the early stages, even medicines are not required. With lifestyle modification and combination of food with physical activity, it can be controlled.
Sir, is that true that only people who are overweight or obese will develop diabetes?
No, it is not. Actually, as I said earlier, overweight and being obese is one of the predisposing factor for diabetes, but it is not the only factor. Physical inactivity, genetic predisposition, diet, all these are contributory factors. So somebody who is not obese may also develop diabetes if other predisposing factors are present.
So, sir, we also talk about genetics. So, people who have a family history of diabetes, are they certain to develop it?
There are more chances of developing diabetes, but it is not that each and everybody with a family of history of diabetes is going to get diabetes. Along with the family history, other risk factors like diet, like lack of physical activities, obesity, all these factors are also responsible. So it cannot be said that everybody who has a family history of diabetes is going to get diabetes.
So, sir, please also tell us, many people believe that consuming a lot of sugar can cause diabetes. Is that true?
Actually, it is said that excess of everything is bad. But simply getting excess sugar is not the only factor responsible for a person to develop diabetes. It's a combination of factors which includes poor diet, poor physical activities, genetic predisposition, use of fat in diet. All these factors contribute to the development of diabetes. But food items with high sugar level like processed food, sugary drinks, too many chocolates, all these contribute to development of diabetes.
So, sir, please also tell us, many people believe that taking insulin is the last resort or a sign of personal failure. Is that true?
No, this is totally false belief. Basically, insulin is the ultimate thing which is required for managing diabetes. Even the medicines which we take, oral medicines, they help in producing body to produce more insulin. So when insulin is given from outside, it is equally important and useful for the body. It's a life-saving medicine. And for patients with type 1 diabetes, insulin is the only way out. And for patients with type 2 diabetes, it's a very strong adjutant to the therapy. And major advantage of insulin over other oral medications is that insulin hardly has any side effects. But oral medications have lot of other side effects. So that is why nowadays insulin is being used as a major supportive therapy for management of type 2 diabetes also.
So, do people with diabetes need to consume special diabetes-friendly products?
No, it is not required. People with a balanced diet, with a proper combination of fat, protein and carbohydrate, balance and portion control, they can manage diabetes with the readily available day-to-day foods which are available in any household. There is no need of going to highly expensive additional support. Only important thing is people have to follow a balanced diet. So diet should contain every part, especially fibers, green leafy vegetables, fruits, etc. There should be very little use of fats, and carbohydrates can also be taken in moderation.
So, millets are often recommended for diabetes. How do you think they help manage blood sugar?
Actually, millets are a very good source due to their high fiber content. And nowadays we promote use of millets in diet. But we have to have a balanced approach, because overuse of millets may also lead to higher sugar levels. So if there is a balanced approach where we are taking millets, where we are taking fibers, where we are taking some amount of fat, protein, then that's the balanced diet which is important. But millets are very good addition to any diet, but we should not take it that without balanced diet, just having millets is going to solve the diabetes problem.
So we have seen there's also a concern that post-COVID, steroid use has caused permanent diabetes in some individuals. Do you think there's any truth to this?
Actually, it's a debatable point. Usually steroid use promotes hyperglycemia or high blood sugar. And some people who were given indiscriminately steroid, they had developed the high blood sugar, but in most of the cases, blood sugar returned to normal once steroids are discontinued. And secondly, what may happen that people were already prone to diabetes. At that stage, they were given the steroid. So they may have persistently high level of blood sugar, but anybody who had COVID, who was given steroid, should continue getting themselves checked regularly for diabetes.
So we have also seen that sugar-free products like sweets and beverages have also gained popularity. You think they are safe for unrestricted consumption?
No, unrestricted consumption of sugar-free food items is not safe at all, because they may be lacking in sugar, but they are compensating for lack of sugar with additional amount of fats. So most of the sugars most of the sweets without any sugar have a very high content of fat, and fat is equally harmful for the body just like sugar. So balanced approach is required, which means again a combination of carb, protein and fat. So just removing one component, sugar, doesn't make diet a balanced diet. And most of these products also lack fibers. Fibers are extremely important factor of diet for managing diabetes.
So what's your take on herbal or natural remedies? Can they cure diabetes?
As I mentioned earlier, diabetes, full-blown diabetes is not curable, though remissions are possible. As far as herbal and other type of management treatment is concerned, some of the well-identified, well-tested herbal medicines and other products are extremely useful in better management of diabetes. But people should consult their doctors. If they are on any medicine, they should continue taking medicine. Don't discontinue the medicine, and take herbal products and other products only as an adjutant to the treatment part. दवा को एकदम से बंद नहीं कर देना है कि herbal medicine पूरी तरह से ठीक कर दे.
So thank you, Dr. Bhatnagar, for sharing such evidence-based insights with us and addressing so many common myths surrounding diabetes. So to all our viewers, diabetes is manageable. It requires consistent efforts, credible information, and informed choices. Let's commit ourselves to busting myths, spreading awareness, and supporting all those who are living with this condition. For more such expert-led conversations, do follow We4Health.